Welcome to Newrealities. My name is Alan Steinfeld, and this program is about consciousness, evolution, and I've been doing a series on creativity and the arts, and that's why I have with me today Toinette Lippe, and she has written a beautiful book called Nothing Left Over, Plain and Simple Life. But I also want to say she is an incredible artist of East Asian brush painting.
Or ink painting, you can call it.
Ink painting. So how does your art and your writing fit together?
Well, in 1972, I edited a translation of the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tse with beautiful black and white photographs and Chinese calligraphy. I worked on it for a year because the prose had been sort of put together by a crowd of students of the Chinese guy.
Well, can I just say that's the problem I have with most translations of Tao Te Ching. They're by Chinese people who don't understand how to speak English, or English-speaking people who don't understand the concepts of the Tao. And you can't find a good translation usually.
Well, I worked for a whole year to rephrase the sentences, and then I would read them aloud to a young Mexican friend who didn't have a lot of English, and if she looked puzzled, I would rephrase that sentence. And then I would send them to the Chinese guy, and he would tell me if I had misunderstood.
The Chinese guy was who?
Was Jiafu Feng, F-E-N-G.
And what was his connection to the Tao Te Ching?
He based his whole life. He was a Taoist. He taught Tai Chi, which I also practice, and he had already published a book on Tai Chi and I Ching.
So he brought the Tao Te Ching to you and said, let's make a really good translation.
No, he already had done it.
But
the publisher was Macmillan, who had published the earlier book, and when he turned out with his translation, the publisher, his editor had left, and nobody was interested. And so somebody at Macmillan said, why don't you go across the street to Knopf and see this editor? And these two people turned up in my office. Unannounced, right?
You could do that still in publishing?
Not really. And but I went out to the reception area, and I found this short, wispy, long beard and very aesthetic looking Chinese guy, and a very tall, strapping American woman with him, who was the photographer, Jane English. And I asked them to come to my office, which was, so I could look at what they had to, and it was so beautiful. They'd done the whole layout. They had put it on 8.5 by 11 paper because that's all they could get. And so we made it an 8.5 by 11 book.
No, I have the book, and I've had it. I probably had a couple of copies, and there was also the Chung Suk edition.
That's right.
Too.
I did that too.
That's a beautiful book too.
Yes.
So so you did this.
So I did this, and starting a year or so later, and I hadn't really put it all together until quite recently, but people began to give me brushes, paper, ink, books on Chinese brush painting, and I kept saying, why are you doing this? It was friends, family. Oh, I thought it would be something you would enjoy. And I said, I don't paint. And I just put it all on a shelf. So that was from 1972 until 2000, when I quit my job on the day my son started work, feeling I had paid my dues to society. And I quit Knopf, but I was still editing, because I had a spiritual imprint at another part of Random House.
What was that?
It's called Bell Tower. I did 70 books there. And so I continued to do that at home. And then the following year, I started studying brush painting quite by chance.
Right, but did reading the Tao open something up in you? Did it awaken understanding?
It resonated with me. I can't say that I learned anything new from it, because I had been studying philosophy one way and another since I was 17.
Well, only because when I sort of got obsessed with the Tao Te Ching, because what happened was I was in a deep sleep, and I was upset about something, maybe breaking up with my girlfriend, and then in this sleep I kind of half like opened my eyes and looked at the bookshelf, and there was all this energy coming off all the books on my bookshelf except one. There was no ego, personality, energy coming off this one book. So when I finally got up, I went to the bookshelf, and it was the Tao Te Ching, as if it was like empty of personal ego that all these other books were generating.
It just is.
Yeah, Tao. It just is. So,
Right.
So I became obsessed. I've got like your edition and 30, maybe 40 other editions of the Tao Te Ching. I guess it's there's no rights to it, right? Anyone could print it.
Well, anyone can. Yes,
Yeah.
it was old.
It's old. Well, Lao Tzu means old child.
Old man, old fellow, old whatever.
Old child, but it's like there's a contradiction in there.
Yes.
Wise child or
Yes,
something like
yes.
that. So then you got into, well, with your spiritual practice, and this book, Nothing Left Over.
So what happened then, in 2000, I quit my job, but just before that, I was having dinner one night with Joel Fortinos, who was the editorial director at Tarcher, and I told him I was quitting my job, and he said, then you can write a book for me. And I said, what do you mean? I have no desire to write a book. And he said, well, I want you to write a book called Nothing Left Over.
He said he gave you the title.
And I said, what would it be? And he said, it would be a book about the simple life. I said, Joel, the world does not need another book about the simple life. Everybody has already written books about the simple life. And he said, but the difference between them and you is that you actually live it, and they just write about it.
Do you live a simple life?
Yes, I live a simple
How?
life.
What is the simple life?
I don't think about things before they happen.
What do you mean?
Well, so many people, like today, the publicist emailed me and said, are you nervous? And I said, I don't get nervous.
But what is the simple life for you?
The simple life is not thinking ahead, but being in the moment and trusting that whatever you need in that moment will be right there in front of you.
Presence.
Presence, yes.
You're present.
Present,
You're
yes.
The best you can.
Yes.
How do you know when you're not present?
Because I'm not there.
You're not there. But how do you know if you're not there?
You don't until you wake up again.
Uh-huh.
You don't know if you're not present. That's why most people aren't that present.
But was there one moment where boom?
No.
There wasn't.
There was never a moment, no.
But then what happens to you when you're painting? What happens in your consciousness?
Well, to be honest, I'm not there yet.
But if you were there, what would...
Well, it would be, what I do is called the spontaneous style. That is, you put the colors on your brush, 2 or 3 at a time,
Yes.
and perhaps a little ink, and then you move on the paper.
With an idea or with a
Yes, I mean,
visual
yes,
image you want?
Yes, I might, whatever. Right now I'm painting pileated woodpeckers that I saw up in Maine in the summer. I almost brought you my practice sheet.
Okay. Good.
But I have to keep going at it sometimes for weeks in order to get it to look like what that woodpecker really looked like. So at the moment it's still work. And what I want it to be is play, because with play you're just there.
Your designs are so peaceful. They're they're simple and complex. I mean, there's an intention in the brushstroke.
Yes, but to get here,
yes,
I have these long sheets and I have to learn how to do each. This is a golden crowned kinglet.
Yes.
So I haven't really studied the kinglet until I wanted to paint it, right? Or frogs or whatever it is. So when I start with something new that I want to paint, I really have to study it and try to get its essence, because the idea is in this painting to just do something in a few strokes. But to do that, they have to be the right strokes.
Well, do you know when you got the essence of it? Is there
Yes.
what's that feeling?
Well, it's whether it comes out on the paper or not. I don't have a feeling inside.
But it comes out. But is there like you're not? When I've done artwork and studied life drawings, there was a teacher who I have a page full of like different scribbles, and she said, "There, that scribble, you got it right there," and I could see what she was talking about. Do you get that when you look at? So, I mean, I guess there's not state of mind you go into, and there you get the simplicity.
I would like it to be that, but I'm not there yet, so I can't claim that.
But you did get it here. I mean, you got in the.
Yes, but it probably took me 2 months.
2 months.
Probably 2 months of practicing.
Oh, I see.
Because each time it's something new that I haven't painted before, so
like
I
these
have
little
to
rats here, they're
mice.
Oh, they're mice. I guess they had long tails. No, they're but the flavor of, I mean, not that I know what the flavor of the mice tastes like, but the feeling of that is so present, and even the background. They are very Zen-like.
Yes, and the thing that in my life and in my practice, in my meditation, in my writing, I try to make sure there's plenty of empty space.
In your life too?
Yes.
Like how does that work in your life?
Well, just being aware of it. Like when I sit on my cushion in the morning, I wait until I'm aware of the space around me, within the apartment, maybe a little further, and within me. And then I rest there.
For how long? I guess there's no time, right?
I don't time myself anymore.
You rest there. What is that feeling of rest?
It's really, well, it's the feeling of the space that's so wonderful, because normally we're aware of the objects in the space and not the space. So if you focus on the space, of course it will include the objects, but it's a very different sense inside you. It's much more peaceful.
So is that what you mean by nothing left over?
No, nothing left over had to do with, I asked him why this book should be called Nothing Left Over, and he said, well, when you go to make a cup of tea, you just boil 1 cup of water, don't you? I said, of course, doesn't everybody? He said, no. I said, well, they're wasting time, money, energy, and water. He said, yes, that's what I'm talking about. So, you know, will you write this book for me? And I said, I have to I have never thought of writing a book. I have to think about it. And so he said, well, I want to buy it tonight at dinner. How much money do you want? It was just, I said,
why do you think he picked you to do that?
Well, he'd known me a long time. We were friends. We were friends.
And you said, Joel,
I have to think about it. So I went home and I looked through, I don't know about you, but I think most people copy little quotations down. Or
I do. And obsessively,
that's
yes,
it.
do that, yes.
And then you never look at them again. You just maybe keep a pile of them.
I do. I have a huge pile.
So I would look through my little folder, and I found. Let me show you what I found. Here, I found this quote from May Sarton, the poet and novelist, in her book Plant Dreaming Deep, which was a memoir. She wrote, "Experience is the fuel. I would live my life burning it up as I go along, so that at the end, nothing is left unused, so that every piece of it has been consumed in the work." And I thought, that is nothing left over.
Yes.
So you just use what's available in that moment. Right. But I had forgotten that I had that quote.
Oh.
And so I said to him, yes.
You know, it's how the Native Americans would live, you know, where they eat an animal, hunt an animal. They would use the whole thing. And that's what the problem with our society is. We
throw out a lot.
Throw huge amounts.
Yes.
You know, I want to interview a woman who created no garbage in the last year, no plastic. She makes her own toothpaste. She makes her own, you know, shampoo, everything. And, you know, the only garbage she's collected is like a jar full of like wrappings, but you know, that's the way to live as nothing left over, because we wouldn't have this total waste. So this book is an inspiration for those who want to live in a cleaner way, a cleaner life, a happier life. Would you say? I mean, or
yes, it's there are less trappings.
Because the materiality of the society.
Yes, because you aim just to be here now, right?
How did we get so lost and deluded? I mean, and what do we do about it?
I don't know. Most people are always so worried about everything. And if you're worried about something, you aren't in the present moment.
But so you don't worry so much?
Only about not getting to the airport or the
That's
train
the only
station.
thing.
I don't usually worry.
And what if you didn't get to the train station on time, or missed your train, or something like that? It wouldn't be the end of the world.
Well, it's not the end of the world. I once missed a plane, but it wasn't my fault. It was because the plane didn't arrive in time, and by the time we got to Miami, there were no more planes taking off that night. So we had to spend 24 hours in a hotel in Miami.
But that wasn't so bad either.
No, but I was going on a 5-day vacation, so that left me only 4 days.
Oh, but don't you think that people worry because they're so obsessed with materiality and...
Yeah, you're probably right. I hadn't thought of it that way.
And the materiality leaves a lot left over. Like all the junk food, all the garbage, all the plastic bags, there's... Right there.
So you can write a book called Too Much Left Over.
Too much left over. The complement to nothing left over. Because really, there are plastic bags killing fish in the.
Yes.
I mean, all over the world. I feel guilty every time I take a plastic bag to put something.
Do that.
In. Yeah.
And then after this book was published, I told Joel that I wanted to write another book because by that time I had started learning brush painting.
Oh.
And what I wanted to do was write about how the mind learns something.
Oh.
And of course, we don't remember how we learn to walk and talk.
Yeah, that's really, that's something
so
I'm very
I decided
interested in.
I would observe what happened when I tried to learn brush painting with no art background at all. So that's how that book came about.
Can you talk about what happened in your learning?
Well, one of the things that happened is that I tell everybody that brush painting is my passion, but I seem to put everything else first. That is, I think I must finish all of my chores before I sit down to paint.
And is that in the way of your career?
Well, yes, because there's always more chores.
There certainly is.
And so months can go by, and you say, but first I have to get my work done.
So what did you do about that?
Well, what I've done about it in the last week is I have a friend who lives far away, and he needs to exercise, and he hasn't been doing it. So I made a pact with him. I said, we have to do this first. I said, when I learned to meditate, TM, long ago, when I was 20, I think, we were told to do it first thing in the morning. And it turned out to be the only way you could be absolutely certain.
You would do it.
You would do it, right?
Because there's always stuff to do.
There's always stuff to do. So I said, we are going to do this first. You are going to exercise, and I am going to paint. And we have, since we both know the other one is relying upon us, this is a bond we have here. And so it's been going now for about 6 days.
Only 6 days?
Yes, you came in early.
Oh, because your paintings are so great. I want to see every one of them. No, you.
So now we eat. He goes and does his exercises, and I sit down at my table and paint. And we know that we have to do this because we can't break a promise to the other one.
But what did you learn when you first started to paint that was new to you?
So many obstacles come up in the mind. It's not just, well, I can't do it until I finished my chores, but I'm not equipped to do this. I don't
Right.
know what
But
I'm
how
doing.
do you do it? I mean, you've captured the essence of the bamboo or the flowers. How?
Well, I study them, whether in real life or I download things from Google. I mean, I can't get mice to sit still for me.
Right. But
Right.
how do you? What's your approach to painting?
Okay, so I look. I have been doing it for 14 years, and I've been teaching for 7 years now. So, I know the brush strokes. I
Are
know
there
what
different
they do.
types of brush strokes?
Yes, there are different things. You hold the brush differently. There's quite a lot to learn. So for me, it's a question of understanding the nature of the flower or the creature or the bird, whatever it is. So I need to look at it, and then I try with images and, with photographs in front of me, I try to capture it on paper.
Do you capture the? Are you going for the shape first? Are you
Yes,
imitating the
but
shape?
both the shape and the color. I will load my brush with the different colors. But sometimes it takes me a long time, weeks, to see what I've missed, why it doesn't look right. Like I was doing frogs, and it took me weeks to see that what I'd got wrong was that the chief feature, the thing that you notice with the frog, is his huge eyes. They weren't big enough.
Oh.
They were too small in proportion to this, so I'd never look like a frog. Once I got the eyes right. So those are the kind of things, and I keep saying to myself, why am I not seeing the obvious?
And why is that?
I don't know.
Because
I don't
it's
know the
right in
answer
front
yet.
of us.
Yes, I guess so.
But when you get it, do you say, "Oh, I got it"?
Yes.
And what's that feeling?
Well, then I just paint it.
No. But with the feeling after you've painted it, and you say, "Oh yeah, I got that bamboo. I got that flower."
Okay. Well, here's a confession.
Okay.
People say, "Do you enjoy painting?"
And you hate it. No, I'm kidding.
I don't hate it, but I'm not enjoying it yet.
You're not enjoying it?
I enjoy teaching, painting. But what I do enjoy is looking at the painting when it comes out right.
But in the process,
I'm not there yet.
And do you want to be there?
Of course, that's the only thing that matters is to enjoy the painting, not the result.
But are you obsessed with painting? Like you got to do it? Or is it like work to do it?
It's still work. I want it to be play.
Let's see what we can do about that. Maybe you're taking it too seriously. Like you want it to be
Yes, I really,
perfect.
really want it to
Maybe
be.
you should not worry about the results and see.
Yes, one should just play with the brush and see what happens.
Yes. Be in the Tao.
Yes.
Tao Te Ching.
That's it.
Right? Like he says, why look outside? Both worlds are here, right?
Yes.
But it's the inner thing. But I think you could enjoy it because you've done some beautiful, beautiful things. I don't want it to be work for you.
I don't want it to be work for me.
I want you to enjoy so I can then enjoy what you've enjoyed.
Yes.
And so what else is coming up for you then?
Something wonderful has recently happened, which is that one of my authors, Gunilla Norris, I did 4 books of hers at Bell Tower, which was the imprint I created, to do spiritual books, and she's done a number of other books since then. She wrote, she's produced a book of days and like a journal which you can write your own things in. She's got haiku at the beginning of each week, etc. And she asked whether she could illustrate it with my hummingbirds.
Nice.
So, and then when we got it together, she said, "Now will you find a publisher for it?"
Oh.
So then I hadn't planned on being an agent, so I tried for a year, and now we have a publisher, and it's going to come out next fall.
From who?
It's coming from Andrews McMeel, who do they do cartoon books, but they do a whole line of journals and stuff like that. And
No, I'm happy you're getting your work out there because.
but I never thought I'd be an illustrator.
But why not?
Right.
You're a great artist.
So, well, I'm not a great artist.
No, you are a great artist, according to me.
I'm a good teacher.
No, but you're a good no, you've gotten something in this art. I mean, don't know it enough, but you are a great artist.
Thank you.
because I don't think you actually even know what you got here. I don't think you realize.
Yes, because as I said,
the
I'm not yet enjoying the painting,
No, but
I am enjoying the result. I really love it when it comes out the way I can see it in my mind.
And Toinette has her art and also her book, Nothing Left Over. And this is the second book, Chord in the Act, Reflections on Being, Knowing, and Doing. It says our society is result-oriented. So, just enjoy the process.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for reflecting back to me my own teaching.
No, you have something.
I need to read these books.
You do. And you need to look at your art and anyway, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, luckily, when I wanted a website, nobody else had taken toinettellippe.com. So that's the name of my website.
So how do you spell it?
Toinettellippe.com.
I really appreciate your art and your work, and I think people are all creative sparks that are here to give back to each other something.
And anybody, can do this.
Yeah.
They may not do brush painting, but they can do something that their heart desires.
Yeah, that's the key. Thank you for all this.
You're welcome.
I'm Alan Steinfeld.
Still.
Still. And if you want to reach me, go to my website, Newrealities.com. Thanks for watching.